The Weight of Suffering, Reflections on a Haunting Statement. The words, "If there is a God, he will have to beg for my forgiveness," are heavy with pain, sorrow, and agony. They are not the kind of words that come from a place of casual despair or fleeting anger. They are the kind of words that are carved into the soul by unimaginable suffering, the kind of suffering that shakes the very foundation of one's faith in humanity, in justice, and in the divine. To utter such a statement is to stand at the edge of an abyss, staring into the void of human cruelty, and questioning the existence of a benevolent higher power. This essay explores the depths of suffering that might lead someone to write such words, the monsters in human skin who could inflict such pain, and the profound questions they raise about the nature of humanity and divinity. The depths of suffering. The concentration camps, such as Auschwitz, Treblinka, and Dachau, were not just places of physical torture but also of profound psychological and spiritual devastation. Primo Levi, an Italian Jewish chemist and Holocaust survivor, wrote extensively about his experiences in Auschwitz. In his memoir, Survival in Auschwitz, Levi describes the dehumanization and despair that pervaded the camps. He recounts how the prisoners were stripped of their identities, reduced to numbers, and subjected to relentless cruelty. Levi's writings reveal the existential crisis faced by many survivors: how to reconcile the existence of a just and loving God with the horrors they had endured, inflicted by the soulless Nazi regime fanatics. To understand the weight of these words, we must first consider the kind of suffering that could lead someone to reject the very idea of a merciful God. This is not the suffering of everyday hardships, loss, failure, or disappointment. This is the suffering of profound betrayal, of systematic dehumanization, of enduring atrocities that strip away one's dignity, hope, and sense of self. It is the suffering of those who have been victims of war, genocide, torture, or abuse, those who have seen the darkest corners of human cruelty and emerged broken, if they emerged at all. The Holocaust survivor who etched these words on the walls of a concentration camp, for example, was not merely expressing anger or doubt. They were bearing witness to a world where humanity had failed on an unimaginable scale, where the very concept of a just and loving God seemed irreconcilable with the horrors they had endured. To suffer in such a way is to be confronted with the ultimate existential crisis. If there is a God, how could such evil exist? And if there is no God, what does that say about the nature of humanity? The monsters in human skin. The kind of suffering that leads to such a statement is not the result of natural disasters or random misfortune. It is the result of human actions, of choices made by individuals and systems to inflict pain, to dominate, to destroy. The monsters who create such suffering are not mythical creatures or abstract forces of evil. They are human beings, capable of unspeakable cruelty. They are the architects of genocide, the perpetrators of torture, the abusers who exploit and destroy the vulnerable. The Nazi regime, led by Adolf Hitler, is one of the most infamous examples of such monsters in human skin. Hitler's ideology of Aryan supremacy led to the systematic extermination of Jews, Roma people, disabled individuals, and other marginalized groups. The SS officers who carried out these atrocities were not faceless automatons. They were ordinary men who chose to participate in evil. The banality of evil, as Hannah Arendt described in her study of Adolf Eichmann, is a chilling reminder that such monsters are not anomalies but products of the same societies that produce kindness and compassion. What makes these monsters so terrifying is not that they are inhuman, but that they are all too human. They are not aberrations or anomalies. They are the products of the same societies, cultures, and systems that produce kindness, compassion, and love. They remind us that the capacity for evil is not something external to humanity, but something deeply embedded within it. As the philosopher Hannah Arendt observed in her study of Adolf Eichmann, evil can be banal. It can arise from ordinary people who blindly follow orders, who prioritize ideology over humanity, who dehumanize others to justify their actions. The crisis of faith. The statement, "If there is a God, he will have to beg for my forgiveness," is not just a rejection of divinity. It is a profound indictment of the world as it exists. It challenges the very idea of a just and loving God, forcing us to confront the problem of evil in its most visceral form. How can a benevolent God allow such suffering to exist? How can a divine being who is supposed to be all-powerful and all-knowing stand by while innocent people are tortured, murdered, and dehumanized? For those who endure such suffering, the crisis of faith is not an abstract philosophical dilemma. It is a lived reality. It is the realization that if there is a God, He has either allowed their suffering to happen or is powerless to stop it. Either way, the idea of a merciful God becomes untenable. The statement is not just an expression of anger, it is a cry of betrayal, a demand for accountability from a divine being who has failed to protect the innocent, the humanity behind the words. Yet, even amid such despair, there is something profoundly human about these words. They are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the refusal to accept suffering as justified or inevitable. They are a declaration that even in the face of unimaginable pain, the individual retains their agency, their voice, their right to demand justice. To say, "If there is a God, He will have to beg for my forgiveness," is to assert one's own humanity in the face of dehumanization. At the same time, these words also reflect the deep need for meaning and justice that lies at the heart of the human experience. They are a plea for recognition, for acknowledgement of the suffering that has been endured. They are a demand that the world, and if it exists, the divine, confront the reality of evil and take responsibility for it. Conclusion. The words, "If there is a God, He will have to beg for my forgiveness," are a haunting reminder of the depths of human suffering and the capacity for evil that exists within humanity. They force us to confront difficult questions about the nature of divinity, the problem of evil, and the responsibility of individuals and societies to prevent such suffering. At the same time, they are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the refusal to accept suffering as justified or inevitable. They remind us that even in the face of unimaginable pain, the individual retains their voice, their agency, and their right to demand justice. And they challenge us to confront the monsters in human skin, not as abstract forces of evil, but as the products of our own societies, cultures, and choices. In the end, these words are not just a cry of despair, they are a call to action. They demand that we confront the reality of suffering and evil, that we take responsibility for the world we create, and that we strive to build a world where such words are never written again.
Please tell me what you think and how you feel about this issue. Analyze it, brainstorm it, debate it, and if you like it, please share it. Thank you for watching. I truly and highly appreciate you, and God bless you.